Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and let's get this crooked. Sorry. This is my video on the future of the WWE and is RYBACK going to last? So I'm going to put it like this, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I saw the Off the Rope Show's video. Very compelling. Is RYBACK ready for the main event scene? Now, I agree with the Slug Daddy on many points that he said. What needs to be done to make a character interesting? How long they can last? Is the WWE willing to back their character or characters in this respect of my video? My video is going to be based on what is the future for the WWE and what they should be doing. Now, the thing about this is, since maybe about, at least from my perspective, everyone's going to have a different perspective, especially way better than mine, because, like I said, I haven't been watching much wrestling until at least 2002. I stopped doing it by 1990, and I was very sporadic between 1990 to 2002. I missed a lot of what was going on in wrestling. By 2002 is when I was seeing it a lot more, and then by 2008, say about 2008, when I was really beginning to see a lot, as much as possible, that I could catch. So, the people that I'm about to mention, we already know where they are. I'm going to give my idea of what they should be doing with them. Now, of course, everyone else is going to have their own opinion, especially the people who are way above me, the smart marks. The Off the Rope Show, the British Fist, particularly, they've been watching wrestling much more than me, and I know they're going to have a better perspective. So, I know that I'm not really that knowledgeable. I'm going to make my mistakes in this video, so I hope you understand and give me a little leeway on this. Like I said, I'm a novice, and I know a little more than most regular casual fans. So let's get in this video. Okay, the people we already know that's been in the title, in any title picture. You could say the World Championship, the WWE Championship, the U.S. Championship, the IC Championship, and the title belts. The ones that I've seen that have been around, let's say about roughly within 4 years, 4.5 years. We got Sheamus, of course, Dolph Ziggler, Zack, Tyson Kidd, Cody Rhodes. Of course, he was there a little, right around 2000 at least, I believe, at least 8, because he was in Legacy. And you also have Kofi Kingston. He's been around quite a long time, at least 4 or 5 years already. There are probably more, but I'm going to leave it at that. Oh, and the Usos. Sorry. I am including tag teams in this. So the Usos are also basically included in this. These group of people have been around for at least 4 years that we know of. Everyone that we've seen most of the time have been roughly around within 3 years. Next to the people who've been there a long time, like Cena, like Randy Orton, like Triple H, who we see most of the time. Undertaker, of course, we've seen. Mark Henry, we've seen a lot of. The Big Show, we've seen a lot of. The Miz, he's been there well longer than 4 years. The Miz has been there a lot. Oh, I also forgot, no, I'm not going to include him because he wasn't there at that time. But I will include him later in this video. Essentially, the people I've spoken about have been in the company more than 4 years. They've been in there between at least 10 years to 15 years. Some have been there maybe about 7 years. The Miz, I believe, started in 2006 at 2005. So he's been there at least 6 years, at least. So I'm going to leave it at that for the amount of people that have been there for a long time. And those are the people that we've known of that have been mostly in Raw or SmackDown. You can also include ECW. You can also include Superstars. NXT is a question mark with that because it is still reasonably new. Superstars had been around for maybe around the time when ECW had gone out. It took over from it. But essentially I'm saying it simply as this. The people I'm about to talk about have been in the company at least 3 years or so, between 3 to 4 years. So I'm going to be talking about them and what should be or could be done with them. So the first person I'm going to talk about is Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett, we already know, started NXT Season 1. Been around at least two years. Maybe a little before that, because I believe NXT started in 2011, halfway into it, and then, no, sorry, not 2011, 2009, somewhere around 2009 into 2010. Then he started the Nexus. So, basically, he's been around there. Now, the way they packaged him, along with the Nexus, as basically like an like a sergeant, until, just like the Slug Daddy said, that Finley was supposed to be the head of the Nexus, which he was revealed later. But essentially, he was shown as the head of the Nexus for a little while before it was revealed then. Now, eventually, by 2011, he basically was dropped. I'm going to say, really, it was late 2010, early 2000 to mid-2011. He really began to lose steam and then lost it completely by the last match with John Cena he had, where he got essentially tons of chairs fell on him. I can't remember what match that was. It was like late or mid-2011. I don't even remember the match. I don't even want to, because they could have done something different with Wade. What they've done recently has been good, but the package is still not good enough. I've said in my previous videos, I'm going to say it here, as what could be done. At least with the Off the Rope show, where Wade Barrett could be packaged more better. I said that Wade Barrett could be a Steve Lombardi type of person. Now, I'm going to probably leave a video about Steve Lombardi. No, I'm not even going to put a video of that. But essentially speaking, I feel like Wade Barrett, he can be in the title picture, or at least the World Champion title picture, even if he couldn't be in the WWE Championship title range. He can be the second guy. He has that potential. He has a good physique. He's a big guy. He has good mic skills. He has good charisma. He's got good presence, like in the ring. I like the presence he gives off in the ring. He can tell a story very well. I believe that he would be very good for the World Championship if they packaged him properly. The way they're doing it is wrong. I believe that he should be dressed like basically a rough type of guy, like a 1989 Steve Lombardi, Brooklyn Brawler type of person. Even though he has the ability to talk, he's very good with his charisma. He's very good in talking. Let him have a mouthpiece. Short term, at least a couple of months. Someone that we know that can talk very well, who can get him over, and then eventually he gets rid of that person and he'll be over enough that he doesn't need him. It could be like a Paul Heyman. It could be someone else that you wouldn't expect. I really can't think off my head who would be the greatest person. Maybe a William Regal. There you go. William Regal is a good talker. He doesn't have to wrestle with the man. He's been known to be very good on the mic. He has been known. And since he's from Liverpool, William Regal, it would be very good for him to have a William Regal manager that can really help him to get over. And I believe, was William Regal his pro? I can't remember exactly if he was his pro. I don't remember. But I believe William Regal would be very good for him. And that would help him get over more. And then when he breaks away from William, he can be thrusted into the world title picture where we can really see if he's truly capable of it. And if he is, if he can become the second fiddle in the company, he can easily become first. Next person I'm going to go to is Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, who we've seen he worked in Legacy, he built his character up, and it got dropped because of what happened with Randy Orton, let's be honest. But by the time he worked with Rey Mysterio, he really made himself very good. I still state months ago that he could have been put into the title picture when Christian took his title. He could have been put in that prominent position. Of course, he needed to do a little tweaking to his character, which he has done now. He's not doing the face thing anymore. Now that he's acting the way he is now, he's more than capable. He doesn't need the IC title. He doesn't need the US title. It's good what's going on with the tag team tournament for him to be in that position that even after a certain time of being there and then losing the straps eventually, because that's going to happen with them. And I say this clearly, ladies and gentlemen, Rogue Scholars, they can hold those straps for quite a while, and I hope they do. But in the end of it, between those two right now, the most prominently featured and the progression of his character is Cody Rhodes. He can easily head for the World Championship. Easily. It's not always important to have a big guy in the world title picture. You can see with CM Punk, you can see with basically, look at Randy Orton. Randy Orton isn't like a RYBACK type of character or Batista. He's a large guy, but he's not big muscles. Cody Rhodes can be in that type of position as a world champ, easily. And eventually, when you see his character progress well enough, if he becomes a face, and we see how well he can become a face, because he's very good as a heel. He's good. But he also could probably play a face. This is my perception of it. And if he plays a face, eventually he could go from the world title picture, if he wins it, to the WWE title picture, and he can be on Raw and be very prominently featured. I believe they can keep him on the track right now and make sure he wins the Tag Team Championships, stay with it for maybe 6 months, 5 months, or maybe even a year. We haven't seen that in a long time. Let him hold that title with Damian, and then break them off, and then let him go to the World Championship. Now, the next person I will talk about is Damien Sandow. It's obvious to see how he acts and presents himself. He's very good. Just like Triple H, he went through Killer Kowalski's camp. Killer Kowalski his camp has been known to bring great wrestlers out. Triple H is a great example, even if he is God, as the Off the Rope show has to say, which is true. He acts that way. But honestly, Damien looks like he has great mic skills, in-ring presence. He doesn't have a bad physique. He doesn't look like he would have bad in-ring presence at all. He doesn't. He's very prominently when they show the camera on him, when you see him, you just know that he's good. You can just feel it. You get a good perception from him. I mean, not a good perception, a good vibe from him. He tells a great story in the ring. And being with Cody in the Tag Team Championship, and I really believe they're going to take those straps. When they do, when it finally comes down to it, and when they break off, Damien will be great in IC Championship. He will not be ready to go into the World Championship, and he won't be ready for WWE Championship. He needs more time with his character to get over. If anyone's ever heard of The Genius, back in the late 1980s, early 1990s, The Genius was a great character. I liked him. He pissed me off. I hated that he was so snobbish. But he was great with his in-ring ability. He was great on the mic. He made you hate him. That's what was great about him. And Damien has that air for me. And in this case, letting him get the IC Championship, not the US Championship. He doesn't deserve that. He deserves the IC title. Let him keep Damien Sandow, the intellectual savior of the masses. It is a good stick. It's good. And once he finishes up his promo segment saying, "You're welcome," it's a good catchphrase. I like it. And he will be great. And maybe within a year, getting IC Championship. It would be good for him. Within a year and a half, who said he couldn't get the World Championship? Then progress up the card. The card is simple. US, you got IC, World, and WWE. That's how it goes. And it's good to see it that way. Now the next person I'm going to move on is Drew McIntyre. Oh, this is a travesty. I say this clearly. Drew McIntyre is a travesty of justice. If they had packaged him differently, no, better yet, I understand, like I said in my video, should Drew McIntyre go back to the Sinister Scotsman character? When he was put over by Vincent Kennedy McMahon as the Chosen One, that was a great stick, a great character, saying, I'm the Chosen One. He was getting great momentum, and when he won the IC Championship, that momentum was great. It was holding good. But then by the time he was doing his program with Teddy Long, he lost momentum. When he lost the IC Championship, he went down. And by the time of this year, he's become meaningless. What needs to be done is this. This is my perception. I'm going to say this again, just like in my original video. Should Drew McIntyre go back to the Sinister Scotsman gimmick? Yes, he's working in the three-man band. He is. And this is good for him to get over. This is good to try and get him some more time on TV, no matter if it's SmackDown or Raw. This is great. This is great for him right now to be prominently featured. Give him a character right now, which he's still sticking with the Chosen One. Let them try to get more over. Let them go after people that either Drew, Slater, or even Jinder Mahal has basically had the job to. It's alright with that. But eventually, let Drew break away from them. Between the three, between Jinder Mahal, Heath Slater, and Drew McIntyre, Drew is the star there. Let him eventually turn. Let him go back to his Scottish roots. Let him, in one point, wear his kilt. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I say, let Drew wear his kilt. For the simple fact, his character, when he first started out, with his original music, that was just almost headbangerish, was really good. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't. In SCW, he wasn't bad. He won the SCW World Championship, I believe. I checked, remember checking to see when it came to which is Alex Roddy, who I also talk about, and Drew. They faced one another, and Drew was the champion. I saw some of SCW a little bit with him. He did very well. I would say that in time, maybe 6 to 8, well, between 4 to 6 months, let them get over, and then let Drew do a face turn. Let him dress himself in his kilt. Let's say that he's getting teased by basically his three-man band cohorts, that he's acting like a girl, wearing his skirt, and he kicks their asses, and let him go to the Sinister Scotsman gimmick. But get this, the Sinister Scotsman gimmick can still get over. Look at the Celtic warrior, Sheamus. He's now known as the Great White at one point, but he was the Celtic warrior. He still shows that moniker. Everything he did as a heel got over. The 10 beats on the chest was a heel thing he did. Now he's turned into a face thing. And I'm telling you right now, Drew could get over that way. He could be a face, an edgy face, with that type of attitude. Let him go back to that. And I believe that it will get over. That's my belief. Now here's Dolph Ziggler. Dolph, who was known, I didn't realize this until it was said on the Off the Rope show, that he was part of the Spirit Squad during the time when they were messing with DX. Since that time, when he first came out, it's been very empty for Dolph. He's been stuck in mid-card, and he basically has not progressed any more than going into the IC or US Championship. He's fluctuated back and forth, flat out. He's only won the World Championship once, and it looks like someone at the 11th hour decided, he doesn't have enough. We're getting to take it right off of him. Essentially speaking, that's what happened. But Dolph, sorry ladies and gentlemen, Dolph really has potential. He does. And a lot of people say, oh, the way he is, he's always jobbing. Yes. You can say this. Dolph jobs very well. He sells everything that he's dealing with. He needs a repackaging. One, he needs to become face. We need to see if he can handle being face, because we've seen him do heel already, even before he had Vicky. He's still the same way. Second, Get him off of Vicky, or Vicky off of him if she's plowing into the dirt, as you say. I'm not saying she's doing that, but Vicky is on, forgive me for my language, his dick for at least 2 years now. She's been with him. It's not getting him anywhere. He's stuck with the same thing, and now talking as the show-off, it's not enough anymore. I believe if he does a face turn, it will be a fresh perspective. Yes, he may still have to job a little bit while he turns face, because I don't believe the WWE is going to trust the face is going to work. Because if they were thinking that face would work, I really believe he would have been switched already, and either Vicky would be gone or Vicky's attitude would change to a good girl instead of a bad girl. But essentially, turn him face, let them give him a few months to really get over as a face, to see how the crowd gets into him. Let him have a pay-per-view win as a face, even if it's a low match with no title picture involved. This is what he needs. He's never had a win in the pay-per-views. Give him one. Even if it's with almost a meaningless jobber, it'll still be something. And then we should see a progression of him going from IC to US to the world title picture, which we need. We need more world title picture players right now, ladies and gentlemen, and that's a good possibility. Next, we have Zack Ryder. I'm going to be honest with you. Zack Ryder has some charisma, yes. Zack Ryder's show, Long Island Truth, I've seen it. Entertaining. But you know what? I believe he's right where he needs to be. At least for this moment. Being in the IC or US title picture is not that bad for a Zack Ryder to be in. He's a very entertaining person when they allow him to be. Now, some people probably say, no, Zack Ryder could be in the world title picture. He could, briefly, but I do not believe he has that type of staying power. He's already been a heel when he made believe that he was basically Edge at one time with his partner, Chris Hawkins. He's already tried it. It wasn't that great. But here, in this position, he can still be prominently featured. He can still, from time to time, go from either title. And it won't look bad because he has that good balance. Look at the Rikishi character. He stayed in tag teams. I believe he got the IC title one time. Maybe even a US title maybe at one time. I don't think he got the US title, but I think he did get the IC maybe once. But he did go in the tag team division. I think maybe once or twice they won, and I think it was with Scotty 2 Hotty. But still, everyone loved Scotty 2 Hotty and Rikishi. When Rikishi was by himself, people loved Rikishi. But he never really was constantly in the title picture. Maybe at one time, and think around 2000, 2001, and he faced at one time having problems with The Rock, he did get the title. But he was great in the mid-card, so I say Zack Ryder's all good in this position. Now the next person is Tyson Kidd. Tyson Kidd, really? I believe Tyson Kidd is better in the tag team division. They don't have a cruiserweight tag team division anymore. They don't. So in his weight bracket, where can he go? He can get the IC title, which is alright. He can get the US title, which is alright. But a lot of people I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't mind him being in tag team. So he could stay in the tag team division. Put him with someone good. Someone who's willing to push. He can be with a big guy, or he can be with someone who's aerial just like himself. He looks like he can be that really variable. He can vary his technique. And people will like it, and he can get over. As long as he's prominently featured enough that even if he doesn't win the title all the time with his partner, it wouldn't be bad. So that leads me to the next person, Justin Gabriel. Pretty much the same thing. Both Justin Gabriel as well as Tyson Kidd can be in mid-card. They wouldn't have a problem being there. Mid-card for those three types of championships would not be bad for either one of these men. Justin Gabriel looks like he'll be a great IC champion. He also looks like he can be a great U.S. champion or a great tag team champion. He was with Heath Slater, but that's when they were heels. As a face now will be something refreshing for him if and when he wins. This is very good for them. And both of them. They're both faces can be through any one of those 3 titles. And there wouldn't be a problem with it. I wouldn't have a problem with it. I would be happy to see a Justin Gabriel win an IC championship. It would be interesting. Mainly refreshing compared to who we usually deal with. The same as Tyson Kidd. So I'm moving on to the next person, which would be Alex Riley. He's not on my list I have right in front of me, but Alex Riley is another person. Alex Riley would make a great world champion. He would. I believe he should be allowed to get IC title, forget about US, allow him to have it for at least 4 to 6 months. He can keep his basic character right now because he's so over with the crowd, even in NXT. I think he's been seen on NXT, and I know he's been seen on Superstars. Very rarely they show him on SmackDown or Raw, but in those places they love him. Let him keep his character, let him stay where he is as a character, but let him get the IC title and then get the world title. Let him stick with the world title for a little while, and as he really gets over as a face, because he's better as a face than he is a heel, he can go into the WWE title and see if he can handle that. But I know for a fact he can easily handle the IC and the world title. He has the charisma, he has the physique, he has the ability to tell a good story, he has the mic skills. He's good for that. He can easily be in the main event scene. So the next person I'm going to do is Heath Slater. And I know a lot of people saying a one-man band, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Where does he fit in this? He's terrible. As I said before in all my SmackDown and Raw reviews, when he started getting over by the time of the 1,000 episode, he's that terrible, that makes him good. He's like a B movie, where he doesn't have any of the 5 tools very well, but still he can get over. So where does he belong? Mid-card. No problem having any one of the IC, US, or Tag Team Championship. There's no problem with him. I do believe that eventually he may need to have a face turn just to see if he can vary his character. As a heel, he's not too bad. He's not. Like I said, he's so terrible, so bad, he's actually good enough to get over by the crowd. People they don't know what they don't like about him, but there's something there to basically get heat from him from time to time, or maybe a pop or two. There's still something there instead of not having nothing. So he has that potential. Next is going to be Brodus Clay. Brodus Clay basically has been dropped. He really has potential to be great, even in the position they have him in. He needs this. I really believe this. That he could have been pushed and he could have had an IC title. He can easily have that. He could, with his character, have a US title easily. He can easily get a world title. Easily. No, not world title. Tag team title. I'm sorry. Not world title. Tag team title. He can easily be in the mid-card in any one of those 3 positions. And similar to Rikishi, with enough time, if he's still over with the crowd, particularly with the dancers, the Funkadactyls, people love that gimmick. Like I said before, what we see here with the Funkasaurus and the Funkadactyls is a rehashing, but my belief, my humble belief, of Rikishi, Grandmaster Sexay, and Scotty 2 Hotty. This is what that is, by my perspective. It really is. I could be wrong, ladies and gentlemen. You can leave a comment below, but that's my feeling about it. And honestly, he can be easily one of those types of champions. And if they really believe he's over enough, because he doesn't have to turn heel. He's alright as a face. He does a great job. He can go and get a world title shot. He could probably hold it for a couple months and get that shot. He could do that. And then, when he loses the title, he can easily go back into any one of those categories. Or at sometimes he doesn't even need one. As long as you don't have him job constantly, he'll be fine. Now the last two people is going to be RYBACK and Antonio Fazzaro, because this video is getting a bit long. I don't want people to get bored with this. I hope I'm not boring you, ladies and gentlemen. Antonio Fazzaro. I'm going to make this kind of short because of what's going on with him. He's currently the U.S. Championship, but really the packaging is not working for him. Getting rid of Oksana is not working for him. It's meaningless. He has a good finisher, the neutralizer, and a good setup for the finisher, which is the elbow of destruction, as I call it. It's a good one, but really it's just not enough. Repackaging is necessary here. I don't think he needs to change from a heel to a face. He just needs something more. Change his clothing. Change his music again into something different. Let his character be a little different. Maybe taking aspects of when he was in ROH, when he used to go in the Kings of Wrestling. Something from there can be incorporated into his character that can get him over more. And even though he looks like he's trash, he could be a great mid-carder, and maybe even in the world title picture, easily. Finally is RYBACK. This is the final thing I'm sure everyone wants to hear, because, and I hope you're not bored with this video because it's already 31 minutes. Simply put, RYBACK is a question mark. The way he's packaged right now, it's good. The question is what they're going to do with him after Hell in a Cell, and if he's going to Hell in a Cell, even though they said he's going. My belief right now is that it's either two things. One, even though RYBACK has been scheduled supposedly for people to think that he's going, within the next 2 weeks or a week that's coming, and I haven't seen this SmackDown yet. But my guess is eventually RYBACK, if this happens, this one, he'll be taken out and John Cena will be inserted into the program for Hell in a Cell. Something will happen to RYBACK that will take him out of Hell in a Cell. It's possible, just like the Off the Rope show says, as a tease. Teasing how RYBACK could get over. And probably Paul Heyman or CM Punk or maybe someone else, we don't know, will take RYBACK out, and then John Cena will be forced to be inserted in the program. That'll be fine for RYBACK because it doesn't really take him out of the equation, because later he could still go after a title. He could. After Survivor Series, maybe during the Royal Rumble, just like the Slug Daddy said, let him go to the Royal Rumble and win it. That will give us a nice tease to see if he's over even more then. And by maybe Elimination Chamber, if he's over enough, he could be given a title shot. That's my perception of the first one. The second one is simple. If they let RYBACK actually do the match, just like the Slug Daddy said, and he loses, he'll lose momentum flat out. This is a rehashing of Goldberg. He's right. But the question is going to be, will they drop him if he loses? But this is also a question if he wins. If he wins, will he lose the title later because of some type of dirty dealings to CM Punk again? Because I doubt they're going to let CM Punk lose the strap for long, because he still has to work with The Rock. This is what the Off the Rope show said as well. The Slug Daddy said it as well, and I believe him. I doubt they're going to let this program with The Rock end. They're going to have this done with CM Punk. So if CM Punk loses the title and then regains it, it would still be for The Rock and CM Punk match by, I think it's Royal Rumble. But in a sense, this would be like a test to see if RYBACK could hold the strap, and people think he's great for it. But also it could still cut his momentum. And if it does, they'll do like a lot of people, even John Cena, where they pull the rug out from under you and let you drop for a couple of months to see if people remember you when you brought back, or repackaged. And if they repackage him other than the Goldberg, I don't think it'll work. In this case, just like the Slug Daddy said, if he's given the strap, it would be better just to let him keep it, and then let basically CM Punk face The Rock without the title. That's what I believe. Let RYBACK keep the strap for a while, because there's no way you're just going to lose it that way. Not unless it's under some type of dirty dealing. They cannot let CM Punk win clean. So that's what I believe for the future and for RYBACK. And I hope you like this video and subscribe and comment. Sorry it's long, but I thought this was a good idea to say because the Off the Rope show, the Sun Daddy inspired me to come up with this idea. Even if he's done it before, I never thought I would do it. So I do thank him for this inspiration, and I hope you have a good day.